And we are live. So, welcome to episode 243 of recently renamed, actually, in attempting to expand into more interviews and things like that. And hopefully I'll have some guests on the horizon soon. I've retooled the title of the show a little bit. It's just Conversations with an American Werewolf. So welcome to episode 243. Here I am, the American Werewolf. In the house tonight, regardless of tech issues, we got Eric from Hey Internet Eric here.
Happy to be here, dude.
Yeah, man. And we've got Marty from the Trash Picture Show over there across the pond. Now, you bastards are going to outdo me this time. I've got my Frank Castle t-shirt right here. You bunch of fucks. Nobody thought to mention that last week. So this morning when I got up, I was getting a shirt ready for work. And I somehow off the top of this big pile of clean shirts that I haven't folded or put away, there was my Frank Castle shirt. So I threw it across the back of this chair right here. It's been waiting for me ever since.
It's like he opens the curtains and that's where the sunlight just hit, like right on the top of the
That's
pile,
it,
right?
Yeah. It's like at the end of the movie when Travolta, and then like all the cars light up, and it's just a big fucking Punisher skull. So we're continuing with movies that launched before the MCU, and it's quite ironic that this came out in 2008. Right around the time of the Iron Man release, Jon Favreau's Iron Man, when the MCU started to kick off. But they were still, hadn't quite transitioned into the MCU at this point. They decided to make this gritty sort of, and as I was talking to Marty before, we had tech snafus everywhere, grindhouse film by Lexi Alexander, of all people, this female director who just made this hardcore and a half Punisher film, much different than what we talked about last week with Thomas Jane's Punisher. Mm-hmm. Here we have Punisher Warzone, completely new cast, completely new main star, completely new tone. If you guys are ready to go, shall we get it going?
Yes, sir.
Ready to roll.
So let's just kick right off with it. Eric. What did you think? I mean, compared to last week, here again, we have the Marvel Knights. And Marvel Knights, where we did Ghost Rider, and then we did Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. Here we're doing Punisher Warzone. And again, this chapter in the Marvel Knights that never really launched. And this movie falls into that category. What did you think of Punisher Warzone?
It's like the two Ghost Rider movies. This was definitely a fucking 180. That's for sure. I thought like I said last week, my Punisher knowledge is pretty much just Thomas Jane, Dolph Lundgren, and the 90s Spider-Man cartoon. I don't have any, attachment, or I haven't read any other comics really. I really liked Ray Stevenson. He definitely had the feel from what you guys were explaining last week. It felt dirty watching it. The violence was over the top from what you were saying, like the Garth Ennis stuff was. I still don't know what to think of the villains, because I thought Jigsaw had its fun moments. I thought Looney Bin Jim was a literal Looney Tune, like Bugs Bunny type character. But I will say this is my second time watching it. I hated it the first time I watched it. This is like Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. Hated it the first time I watched it because I didn't know what I was getting into. I enjoyed it this time.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Marty, what do you got? We were talking a little bit before we, went all the haywire.
I'm 80% loving. I 80% love this movie. I do really like this movie. Again, whereas the prior movie was taking a pick and mix of different sources of Punisher, trying to make a Frankencastle version of the Punisher. This is probably the closest you'll get to the Max series. And if anyone's wondering, the Max is a more adult-orientated run of the Punisher. And again, Lexi Alexander she did pick characters from that line, but she didn't do them the justice they could have been done. Like, I get what Eric's saying with the villains. They're a lot more cartoony in this version. Whereas if you read the Max comics, you're getting something that is the equivalent of The Sopranos or The Wire. You're getting, for the movie, they're more cardboard cutout. And I do realize there's a limited runtime, so you can't go too in depth with them. But they don't utilize the potential of the source material. That said, there is some really funny moments and funny things and cool things with the character. Again, Looney Bin Jim, Doug Hutchinson, can't go wrong. He played Eugene Toombs in the X-Files. He's in the Green Mile, fucking brilliant actor, but he is totally fucking gonzo in this. And I can't decide whether it's really good or really bad. But,
same here. I had a 60s Batman feel to him.
Oh yeah. I want my applesauce back.
Yeah. I fucking hated Looney Bin Jim. I hate that character. Good. I hated it. But I think Marty is right. This is there's a lot of special features on the Blu-ray, and I got a chance. I was going to watch this on Tuesday, and then I had a major fucking plumbing catastrophe that took me to like 1:00 in the morning, so that fucked that up. And then I was so tired from yesterday, having been up all night Tuesday, that I didn't get a chance to watch it. So I just watched it before we went on, and it's still great. I mean, I own a copy on Blu-ray. It's got a blistering fucking soundtrack. Serious fucking heavy metal soundtrack. Slayer. I sent you guys the Spotify fucking playlist.
Rob Zombie
earlier in the week. Yes, everybody's fucking on there. It's fucking bumping. I think we're seeing again, the evolution. They're not quite there to the Barenthal character, but the tone is approaching where we as Punisher fans want to be. I think Ray Stevenson physically is Frank Castle. Frank Castle is a big, greasy-looking, imposing, like 6'4" hulking mother-fucker, and that's what you've got here. Yeah, that's what you've got here in Ray Stevenson. I think this is directly lifted off a lot of the Ennis comics. I saw elements of, and I think we talked about this before in the beginning with the Cesare family, with the massacre in the very beginning. You've got elements from the Slavers, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't get a chance to flip through this with the Christu Balat, the Old Eastern. They didn't expand on that too much because in the Slavers, Christu and his family are the main villains. The McGinty character.
Kitchen Irish, from Kitchen Irish.
Yeah, from Kitchen Irish. So you're getting lifts that are directly from Ennis. I think that Stevenson is like a Bradstreet cover.
Yeah.
He looks
fucking catches it. Yeah.
The way Bradstreet portrays him. It's definitely got comedic elements, which some of Ennis's stuff did, not necessarily the Max, but there are some other Ennis things that have some goofy, over the top kinds of things.
The Preacher, I had a serious Preacher vibe with a lot of the Looney Bin Jim shit.
Yeah, I liked it. Like I said, we're not quite there with where they sort of get it perfect when it comes to Barenthal, but we got closer. Certainly, like we got closer, I think, with Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. Yeah, not the greatest script necessarily, but the tone here is closer to what we want to get to. So, I mean, the story starts off basically, and we're in year 5. Year 5 of Frank Castle's sort of reign on terror. I love the idea that, of course, the police fucking love him because he just fucking murders all the scumbags that they just want to fucking. He does what they want to do.
Right.
They really could give a fuck that he's out there killing scumbags and criminals and mob bosses and the muggers and the rapists and the meth dealers. They just don't give a shit. Which is sort of a perfect setup. That's a perfect New York attitude. Bye, have a nice time, that kind of thing. It starts off with, you hear that narrative in the credits that ancient mob boss has been sprung, responsible for probably this upwards of 100 murders. The one witness that they get has been killed. So, the old man's going to walk free. And the whole time you see, you don't see his face, but you can see Stevenson like kitting up, and watching it on the TV. I love the fact that he lives in the sewers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That he's just got his whole underground fucking setup in there, and it's just the spare and Spartan fucking thing as he prepares to go to war with this mob family.
Yeah, I liked his look. I liked the feel Stevenson gave because Dolph is Dolph. You know what I mean? Thomas Jane, he could be intimidating, but he didn't look intimidating. I wouldn't want to fuck with this Frank Castle. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to like walk down the street not paying attention and bump into him accidentally. You know what I mean? Because he just looks mean.
No, yeah.
He just looks mean. He looks like he would, if you caught him on the wrong day, he'd like kick your puppy or something like that. He just looks like he's always having a bad day and you're the cause of it. And so that's what I like. Okay. Like I said, he's built like a refrigerator. He's literally like a rectangle with a little head, with a little head on top. You know what I mean? And I like that because that helps him be so scary. Like even without the weapons, he's intimidating.
He's also got the perfect look. Like the Punisher should look sort of haunted with constant dark circles under his eyes, because he's always at night. He's just murdering people like every fucking night, just in cold blood, so he's got that drawn out sort of look. And yeah, Stevenson just plays it fucking perfectly. Marty, what did you think of Dominic West as Billy the Beaut?
I think he was at the start, he was good. But as he went into the role, he started getting a bit too kind of. Did anyone else feel he was like, okay, I don't know what to base this on. I'm going to do Nicholson's the Joker, and starting off from that scene where he went into the fucking plastic surgeon. I was getting fucking 89 Batman vibes off that.
When that scene happened, my wife was laughing because I just kept yelling, "The mirror." The mirror, like wait for the guys to give him the hand on the mirror so he could see what he looked like after Jigsaw. He definitely got full on like 80s, 90s comic book villain to me.
There was moments where he was talking to Tizu's fucking son and he fucking breaks the champagne flute and sticks it in his throat. That was a very fucking serious Jigsaw moment. But then when he started doing the speech in front of the American flag and marching,
I love that. I love that scene.
I was like, no, oh man, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Oh, I loved it. And I'm the last person who usually likes that kind of stuff, but I love that because I wrote it in my notes. Be all that you can be. We're going to go out there and we're going to promise some guys some bullshit and, we're going to fucking lie. We're going to pay them a lot of money and they won't have to go to Iraq, So this was 2008 when the war was fucking like red hot, over there. And that was kind of the vibe. Bush was on his way out. Everybody was sick of him. Obama was there. We didn't know it was about to get worse with Obama, but it was. We thought, the worst of it was Bush. But yeah, people were just exhausted of the war and felt bullshitted. I love the way that they did like that Grace Jones march, like in that fucking in that music video that she did. I thought that was okay. What did you think of the Detective Soap? We've got two police officers, Detective Soap, Agent Budiansky. I like Detective Soap. I liked Budiansky. I liked them both. I just sort of accepted this movie for what it was. Maybe it's just because I love the Punisher so much. It was an improvement over Thomas Jane. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to be okay with this.
Which was the white detective and which was the black detective?
Soap was the white guy.
I fucking hated him. I hated him so much. I fucking hate. He was such a fucking moron. That's why I hated him.
The issue with that, Eric, is, again, this was slightly a problem that was carried over from the last movie to this movie. They took Soap as a 616 character. Soap is a mainstream fucking Marvel character. He's not He's not in the Max comics. He's goofy. He has sex with a fucking big, huge serial killer in a bar. He may have fucked his mother, who was a prostitute. He tries to kill himself and slips on semen. It's just that shit does not work in this fucking setting. And they carried over that character. Soap is the Garth Ennis taking the piss out of fucking 616 comics, not the Max kind of comics.
What I didn't like about him is he's just a big dork. And I can handle that. I mean, we have stupid cops in all these type of movies, whether it's horror movies, action movies, we always have the dumbass cop. But this cop was like such a wimp too. Like the very end, when a bad guy's holding him up and he's basically pissing his pants, begging for Frank to help him. You know what I mean? He's just, to me, he looks like he kind of reminded me. Let's pull something out that Mike absolutely hates: the Scream franchise. You know, you have that cop who you know for a fact Dewey, who's so dumb and useless he wouldn't have made it past the probationary period. And I don't know how he got on the force. I just didn't like him because he just seemed so useless. Like he couldn't survive on his own, like living on his own type of character.
Again, that's the running joke in the fucking regular comics, not in the Max one. It was wrong to put fucking Soap into this movie.
See, I disagree with you guys because I think the appeal of Soap, yes, is that in a Punisher comic, I mean, you especially in like this sort of dark look at the Punisher, you want a man of action. Maybe somebody closer to Budiansky, maybe even somebody higher level than Budiansky, that kind of thing. But the catch with this guy was that he kept failing up. Soap was like this sort of academic. He was just like an academic who was doing the research on Castle. So the way it was portrayed strictly within the confines of this movie, I was okay with, because he counterbalanced with Budiansky, who is kind of a fuck up too. But he didn't. I didn't mind it.
Budiansky didn't seem worthless to me. You know what I mean? He had a purpose, and you could tell Budiansky if he needed to, he'd get the job done. Soap should stay behind a desk and not leave the office until he punches out for the night.
Soap was the guy who was leading them to Castle all the time because he knew the places to look. He knew to listen to the radio. We might find him this way. We might find him that way. Sure, he sort of got slapped around and pushed around by everybody, but he was the guy who was actually plugged into what was happening in the movie. It wasn't Budiansky, and it certainly wasn't the police department or the FBI.
Right. The thing is, one thing I'll give it, right, and again, I don't think, as I said before, I think putting Soap in this version didn't work, but at least it gave an explanation to when Budiansky was like, look, I want some fucking backup. I want an explanation for the character. And they're like, yeah, okay, here's the Punisher task force. And it makes sense. If you don't want this guy caught, put this fucking idiot in charge. That kind of did make a lot of sense. Also, one cool thing.
He's running the Punisher task force down in the basement, room 12.
One thing I really liked was you also got the exposition. You got a quick catch up on the character and the sketch, the pencil sketch. That's fucking Steve Dillon. Steve Dillon done a version of Ray Stevenson for the kind of what's it called, the fucking suspect sketch or whatever the fuck.
The composite.
Composite.
So I like that they didn't spend. They spent maybe 2 minutes on the background. On the origin story. You didn't have to rehash it again. No need to go in. You explain it to this one guy for 2 minutes. I loved the scene in the basement where they go down, and he's like, well, which ones, what am I looking at? He goes, what? The Punisher files. He goes, all of them. And
that was funny.
It's just a whole fucking basement full of dead, all those people are just dead people. He's just been fucking killing people for 5 years now. Yeah, I love that scene. I fucking loved it. Great fucking movie. I loved, what ended up happening to, it starts out with Dominic West, he's loudmouth, Billy Rosati, this, that, or the other. I love seeing him get sent into that fucking glass recycling fucking
That was brutal, dude.
Oh, man, he just gets fucking shredded.
I forgot, I knew this was like a hard R rating. I forgot how bloody it was. Like when Frank's killing all those fuckers at the party. You know what I mean? And he's not just cutting throats and
Cutting
shooting
heads
people.
off.
He's not just doing that. He's like throwing chair legs in eye sockets and stuff like that.
He
And
breaks that woman's neck with his bare hands.
I know. So no one's, it's fair game. God bless you, Frank Castle's equal opportunity when it comes to snapping necks. You know what I mean? But I'm like, holy shit. And when you got to when Billy, before he becomes Jigsaw, when he's in that, there's a really good, foreshadowing. Like, okay, we already know what we've seen. He's in a big pit of unbroken bottles. And I knew this was bad. And Marty has told me some of the stuff, from last week, some of the stuff that he's done in either the comics or the video games. And I'm like, I know, I remembered a little bit from the last time I saw this. I'm like, that motherfucker's going to pull a lever and he's just going to get, encased in that stuff. I didn't realize how long it was going to be. Him spinning around.
Yeah.
And just, it just busting on his face. It was very gruesome. And I was wincing a little bit because I'm like, God damn. And I do want to say this. I want to give a shout out to, what's it, Lexi Alexander?
Yeah.
I don't know anything she's done behind the camera other than this. I've heard a couple interviews because a lot of podcasts I listen to talk about comic book movies. If you're ever bored, listen to an interview with her. She is cool as hell. You know what I mean? She seems like one of the boys. You want to go have a beer with her after work. She is cool as hell. She knows her shit. So I think she was perfect for making this type of movie because she likes these over-the-top type, violent type films.
I was impressed. This isn't usually. This reminded me also a little bit of Ravenous, where they got a female director for that one, and I'm like, that usually just isn't. I mean, it's just fucking blood and bone and
very
gristle,
rare,
man. Yeah, that's usually a guy's purview, but she fucking knocked it out of the park. God bless her.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of the Micro character? I forget his name in real life.
Wayne Knight.
Wayne Knight played
from
Newman.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah. I know him as Newman from Seinfeld. It's an interesting. I saw the behind the scenes, and apparently Lexi Alexander had them all read the Ennis Run.
Mm-hmm.
Because like Stevenson was quoting off, and he's like, well, in the comic books, it's for Micro, it's like the Punisher literally kills him. He puts a shotgun right to his head and just blows his head off at the end of the issue. And he goes, I'm glad I didn't have to do that, because I like the character. I like Wayne Knight. I thought he was the last person I expected to see. And he sort of plays this. Well, I don't know if he plays the straight man. But
I'll say I knew he was in it. I remember he played Micro. All I knew about Micro is he drove around in a van, told Punisher where the bad guys were, and gave him weapons. I liked him in this because he's not playing these assholes that he plays either in Jurassic Park or Seinfeld, or he's not playing these dumb fucks that he's normally playing in these comedies like Space Jam or Rat Race or anything like this. He was pretty much, I guess I don't want to say the straight man because it's not like Ray Stevenson's funny, but he is that straight man that's kind of needed. The down-to-earth guy takes care of mama. You know what I mean? He tells Frank when he needs to chill the fuck out and this and that. And I like how he knew every move Frank was going to do. Like Frank says he's going to quit. 3, 2, 1, walks right back in. When he tells the gangbanger to get 2 Berettas, type of thing. So I thought, I don't think I'd ever be saying this. I kind of wish I had more Wayne Knight in this. I wish we had a little bit more of the character instead of him just being like, to a lesser extent, his Alfred. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What did you think of him, Marty?
Perfect choice. First off, he looked exactly like the character. Although in the Max run he had a beard, but in the 616 and all other interpretations, he's always this heavy set guy with glasses, and he's always the guy who's like fucking sorting Frank with intel and weapons. He's Frank's tech guy. Like the introduction as well. Hey Frank, I can get us a deal on some RPGs. There's some dude who took a shit beside Bin Laden. He can sort us.
That's right.
Yeah. I again, and I like that, and I like he looks after his mother who has Alzheimer's and stuff, and it's cool. They flesh out the character, and in the Max run, we only get he only appears in the first run of comics, and as Mike says, he gets on the business end of a sawn-off shotgun. But in this, they flesh him out a bit more, and they make him a bit more likable than he was in the Max run. He fucks Frank over in the Max run.
Yeah, he does.
But with this one, you get a lot more of a compelling character that adds and Eric's feeling is testament to it, that you want to see more of and you don't want to see on the business end of a bullet. Right. And I think that is down to Wayne Knight's performance as well.
Yeah, he's really good. And what I like is, one of you guys just brought up, he can get some RPGs because he knows somebody that took a shit next to Bin Laden. He says that straight. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's not trying to be funny. He's legit. I know a guy that took a shit next to Bin Laden. He can give me some weapons. And he says it just like it's Tuesday. That's what I love about him. His performance is just so deadpan, and it's needed. And that's what I like.
It's a complete. I want to say that this is a completely different conversation from the one we had last week. With Thomas Jane. Where we were trying to sort out who was who, and it's just a completely different tone. It's a completely different movie. And in the matter of 4 years, I think that they made progress as compared to what we talked about last week. Is it a flawed movie? Yes. It's a perfect by no stretch of the imagination. But
it depends on what we're specifically talking about. Like, I think this is an improved Punisher, but the side characters, I still love the three people in the apartment building last week compared to Julie Benz and her daughter here, those type of characters. And
I got a soft spot for Julie Benz, whether it's here, whether it's in Rambo, whether it's in Dexter. I always loved Julie Benz. I thought she was a nice addition to this. She plays the civilian, and she plays it very well. She always has that. Ray Stevenson said she has an expression about her. She bends, but she doesn't break. She always plays that fragile sort of person, which I thought was appropriate here. You needed some humanity. And as much as I like Detective Soap, you weren't going to get it from him. He was slapstick. He was for comedic effect. He was a buffoon. But what ends up happening in the start of the movie, while the Punisher is going after Dominic West after he's attacked the mob family, he accidentally kills an FBI agent. And so he has a lot of guilt. He wants to go into retirement. He attempts to apologize to the family. They don't, she doesn't really accept his apology necessarily. But yeah, she does a good job of with the little girl. I like the little girl in here.
She was good.
She plays a little girl. She's really not asked to do anything other than be herself, and that's why it works. But then they become targets for the Jigsaw because he finds out that the father was a cop, or the guy that was undercover was a cop, so. They think somehow he has all this money that they've been laundering through him, or so on and so forth, and so they go after this family, which really is a lot sleazier than the villains we got in the first movie. Like when they go to the house, you're just like, oh man, come on! You're going to go after a little girl and a woman. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think I would have been more intimidated if I liked Looney Bin Jim. And even,
I hate Looney Bin Jim.
Here's the thing about Jim. They make him seem so dangerous when we say we already have Freddy Krueger walking into his room. You know what I mean? And you got Looney Bin. He's tied to the bed type of thing. So because he looks normal. And what I mean by normal is like 150 pounds, shaved head type of thing. He doesn't look dangerous except for the eyes. You know what I mean? He looks like a fucking crazy man. But then once he's let loose, I don't know if it's the director. I don't know if it's the actor. But when we see him, like sometimes in the background, he's hopping up and down on the couch like a fucking monkey, or where the one scene where there's a scene where, like, when
I know exactly the fucking scene you're talking about.
He's just so cartoony. It has to have a little bit of that because the way Jigsaw looks, you have to allow some leeway for a comic book character in a air quotes real world. The Punisher is supposed to be taken somewhat seriously. And so you have to allow some leeway, but he was just like he reminded me of Bugs Bunny. And then some of the things that he did, like when he's shooting up the little girl's dolls just to do it type of thing, and just some of the ways he would move around and act, I didn't like Looney Bin Jim at all. He was too like
you're not supposed to like him.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, I didn't like him because he was an asshole. I didn't like him because he annoyed me.
Yeah,
that was
he's annoying. Yeah, he's not. He's not. And this was a Lexi Alexander creation. She said, like, this isn't an Ennis character. This
not
isn't
a comic book character at all.
He's not a comic book character. She just completely made him up, and he's like a fever dream.
Okay, because
like annoying fever dream.
When you were telling me those stories about, like, Bumpo's, being put on top of the Russian and smothering him, that type of weird shit.
Mongolian, yeah. And
that's what I expected. Like, so I expected Looney Bin Jim to be a character like that.
He's
I didn't
an
realize
original creation. I was like,
hey, wow.
I'm with Eric. I don't know if, ADHD is the best superpower for a fucking villain, but, it's just... I was like, I really like the Punish. I really like what they're doing here, but Jesus Christ, lads, can you turn the fucking dial down maybe just to a 9, please?
Yeah, because we already have an over-the-top character in Jigsaw, who I didn't mind. I mean, I didn't mind. But when you have his sidekick, because, even though they're making it seem like, Jim is the more dangerous of the two, when you have, he's still the sidekick, but when you have him, like, if Jigsaw's a 10 and you have this fucker acting like a 25, it's way too much, like, between the two. He should have been more subdued. You know what I mean? Here's an example. Like you have Nicholson and the Joker, over the top, goofy, crazy guy, but then you had Bob the Goon. You know what I mean? He's there to do the job. He has a couple fun moments, but he's at least dangerous. Looney Bin Jim, he is like, if you paired like the Joker with Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey from Batman and Robin all in one character. He's just way too much for me when it comes to like the goofy stuff.
That's well said.
Mike, I would have preferred, instead of like fucking Looney Bin Jim, if you got Vane Rames in to do Barracuda. That would have been a cool heavy.
Yeah,
that would have been a fucking cool heavy for Jigsaw. Vane
there
Rames,
was a lot of, when the MCU started, you might remember this, Marty. There was hope that Stevenson was going to come back because people liked him better than they liked Thomas Jane, and so they were like, "Wow, it's advancing. This is progress. We're getting closer. Give us, And then when they started coming out with the MCU, they just started getting, Ed Norton as the Hulk, and Robert Downey Jr. And then I forget what came next. They introduced Captain America and Thor, and Brana was directed. And like, holy shit, we might get like a 5-star Punisher. And so can we get Ray Stevenson in there with one of these big budgets and a great script, that kind of thing, which never happened. They ended up going with Barenthal,
and like you could do a big budget story from a Max one, like Mother. There's a great one called Mother Russia where Nick Fury sends fucking Frank in to rescue this little girl. Yeah, and there's kind of a Russian version of the Kingpin, and some character has Frank sets off a bunch of nuclear weapons and aims them at Moscow, and they just drop out of the sky, and the Russian Kingpin's fucking kind of cohort goes, "You were right, it was American." He's like, "No, it was a Russian born in America by mistake." And I'm like, that's fucking brilliant. That's a fucking brilliant line. Just it would have been
cool. The Man of Stone, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Man of Stone. Hold on a second. I think I've got that land. Oh, here it is. Yeah. Mother Russia. That's a fucking great one.
I just love that line. "You're right, sir. He was American." "No, it was a Russian born in America by mistake."
That's the one where Fury takes off the belt and starts beating them.
Oh yeah, he starts whipping the shit out of the general.
Yeah. Because they said
like, this better be good pencil, Dick, because I just got 6 hookers up in my fucking room and they charge by the hour. I know.
Wow.
That's why, initially people weren't necessarily thrilled with Samuel Jackson's selection as playing Nick Fury. because it was just like, well, but then the MCU never got that dark, like that sort of dark side with Nick Fury. That's a completely different. They stayed on the sort of PG side of things.
Mike, I always got the opinion that in the Max run, fucking Ennis based Fury off Charlton Heston in True Lies.
Maybe. I never got that particular impression.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus. What was that? Yeah. Jeez, Harry, you screwed the pooch on this one. You're going to be hard.
Just that kind of gruff kind of arsehole. Sorry, I'm after derailing the whole fucking conversation.
No. We're just talking. I was impressed when I saw Bradstreet's interpretation of Thomas Jane as Fury. Have you ever seen that artwork?
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
That fucking illustration of Thomas Jane as Fury. I'm like, wow, that would be a fucking Nick. That looked like Nick Fury. So, I mean, we start to get all these other gang members involved. I mean, where does the story go from there? It just sort of. I love the McGinty scene where those stupid fucking parkour guys.
Yeah,
those fucking guys.
Parkour was so fucking annoying and popular, and when he blew that fucking dickhead up
right out of the fucking sky.
Like, yes, thank
you.
I liked that. That part was fun, but again, they built up. I don't know if he was talking to the gangbanger that's now working, Micro and everything. They built up the dude with the dreads like he's this dangerous fucker.
McGinty, they're the free throw coup.
And he gets taken. He's like Harry Heck. You know what I mean? He's got this big fucking reputation. He's gone. You know what I mean?
I was glad for it. He's stupid. He's parkour. Take him out fast. I don't want to see him leaping around anymore.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They built him up like he's this dangerous bastard, but he's busy doing flips and all this parkour shit. And then, I mean, it fits the character. Frank just throws him on a fence and then breaks his neck or whatever.
I love that where he jumps down and just lands right on his fucking head.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
His whole neck just goes like this.
Yeah.
It's fucking great.
But I did have a smile on my face when those three jackasses were jumping from building to building. That guy, it was a slow motion like somersault or something, and then just boom,
just fucking gone.
Yeah,
ass, and Frank's just staring at him like, you dumb motherfucker. Jesus Christ. So I mean, he tries to take him, underground, and Ray Stevenson does do a little bit of acting down there. Ray Stevenson was not a great thespian, but he was a great character actor, and he could give you some real work. Yeah, the scenes with the little girl
when she opened up his family's trunk, and he had the snow globe or whatever. Yeah. I thought that was.
It was needed, Mike, because we couldn't just follow Frank. As much as I'd love to, we can't just follow our hero just fucking decimating person.
A little humanity to him.
Yeah, you needed to give him a bit of a fucking soul.
Well, that's even with Barenthal's character. You have people like Karen Page, who were there to lend that sort of human element to him. So on and so forth, back and forth. I don't know what happens after that. I just watched.
I think they kidnap Microchip. They kill his mom, and then they basically have. Isn't it? They have Frank has to choose who lives and who dies. Julie Benz and Microchip.
Yeah, the cops end up being fucking useless because they cut a deal with fucking Jigsaw.
Yeah.
And you're just the cops and the Federals are just fucking useless. I mean, go ahead, Marty.
No, just originally, as you were saying, Looney Bin Jim, Jigsaw, fucking Christ, think. Ink and Pitsy go to the house. They kill the cops. Frank comes and rescues them. Budiansky's like, we're taking these guys in. And he literally blows off your man's fucking head with the shotgun.
I love that scene. Yeah, God damn it,
God damn it, Castle. Yeah, that was funny. I did not expect that to happen, but I should have. That's the thing. I should have expected that.
Yeah.
But like you were saying, takes them to the sewer, and then shit goes down with Micro's mother. Sorry, Eric. That's
okay. I had completely forgotten about Jigsaw, basically them getting the bot or the free pass so they can get the information for Micro.
And that is perfectly like Frank blowing that guy's head off right at the fucking dinner table is perfect Frank Castle. Like he's not cutting any deals. You know, he's not making any arrangements. He's not giving them a second chance to go out, you know, and be set free and then do it again. That's it. You know, I love that. And again, you know, here we are in year 5. But I mean, by the time you get to Ennis, he's been at it for decades. You know, Ennis's Punisher is an older man. He's probably in his 60s. You know, and he's arriving at the fact that, you know, he's like for every one that he kills, another one or 3 sprout up.
There's a fucking cool comic as well called The End, Eric. It's basically instead of Old Man Logan, it's Old Man Frank, and like fucking the world's been nuked, and he finds out that there's a bunch of dudes who were responsible for these kind of higher up kind of government officials, and he goes across the irradiated wasteland just to kill all these people, and they're like, but we're the last of humanity, and he goes, yeah, you know, it's best to fucking end on a high note. He just kills everyone in the bunker and walks back to Central Park burning up with nuclear fire. It's a fucking cool story. And I think he's in his 70s in that one.
He's he's one of the few survivors. I mean, he gets killed in Old Man Logan.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's because it's Logan and Hawkeye, and the Hulks end up capturing the Punisher and they kill him, but he's in there with somebody else, and I can't remember.
I think he's in there with with Daredevil.
It might be Daredevil.
I think they're in like this giant gladiator pit.
Yeah.
They fight
the raptors. They're being fed to raptors.
Yeah, being fed to something like aren't they infected with like the Venom symbiote or something like that? Yeah.
Something like that. Hold on a second. We got some comments here. We got the Horror Cat Dad. Is it me or did Jigsaw seem like a mix of Joker and Two-Face?
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. You know, Dominic West is another one of those guys who
I know his name he's from something else. I know him.
Oh God, he's been in 300. He was in The Wire. He was McNulty. Huh?
Have you seen the Centurion?
Centurion. He's another one of those guys. He does a lot of character actors. And if you ever get a chance to see The Wire, it probably is the greatest series of all time.
Says it's like the best TV show ever.
And he is like, he's not exactly the main character, but he's one of them. He's one of them. He's one of the cops, Detective McNulty. And he's just fucking great. He's just great as this fucking extremely high-functioning alcoholic fuck-up. Who's just he sets a lot of things right, but he also fucks a lot of shit up in the meantime. So I mean, it ends up coming down to the Punisher party, and I just thought that the last half hour of this movie is just fucking. Hold on a second. He looks like an off-brand Luke Evans. I just love the last half hour. It's just one big fucking gunfight. The whole last fucking 30 minutes of this movie is just one big gunfight as he just decimates these gangs. Some of the gangs are turning on each other. It's great fucking action. And Ray Stevenson is completely believable as the badass who could just fucking insert himself into this fucking building by himself. And he's got the look, you know, it's that fucking look on his face. I was showing you guys a couple of days ago, somebody had made up this, I guess it was concept art of Stallone, like 83 Stallone as a Frank Castle. And that would have been fucking cool to see. That would have been cool to see, especially if you'd gotten a really dark, you know, I don't know. Stallone did dark shit, you know, back in the 80s.
Maybe
First Blood is very dark. If you get First Blood,
well, I would want it to be better than Cobra. But I mean, a First Blood fucking thing, that would be fucking, you know, that kind of tone, that would be fucking great for a Castle movie. Or, I mean, would you like to see, here's a question, would you like to see Stallone now play an older Frank Castle?
It depends. Like if he's a hate the world type of Frank Castle, like how he was in Rambo 4 when he blew up all of Burma and he gave no fucks. Yes. But it depends on the tone that we got, because Stallone has the look. I'll give him that. He looks like he could play Frank Castle. It just depends on how he plays them. You know what I mean? Is he
Yeah.
gonna be happy-go-lucky mobster, like Tulsa King
No,
guy?
it's not Tulsa King, but I mean like Last Blood kind of.
Oh yeah, I like I said, if he has the attitude of like the last two Rambo movies, oh yeah, I could see it.
Marty?
Uh,
And if not, who would you like to see play an old Frank Castle? I heard somebody say Chris Cooper one time, which would have been interesting, but
fuck, you kind of put me. Do you know Steve Lang? Stephen Lang.
Oh, that would be
That's a good
interesting.
choice.
I'd love to see Stephen
Yeah.
Lang as the Punisher.
Okay.
If he, you know what, he reminded, if you guys have ever seen VFW,
Yeah, that's a great fucking movie.
Stephen Lang in VFW is an older Frank Castle. I think that would work.
Yeah.
That's a great movie.
You fuckers want to come in my bar?
That's everybody's fucking great in that. You got Martin Cove, Fred Williamson, William Sadler.
Yeah.
Who's the Korea vet? George Wendt?
George Wendt's in it. David Patrick Kelly's in it. Everybody's fucking.
Yeah.
You come back in here, and I'm gonna carve your heart out. You know what I mean? It's I love that film so much.
Hold on. Lang, I can see as Nick Fury as well. Yeah, that would work. That would work too. VFW was an awesome one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So, I mean, I like the end of the Jigsaw. That he gets skewered like a fucking kebab and just placed on that fire. And I love fucking Castle's line to him. This is just like you're going to be burning in hell for like all eternity. This is just the beginning.
Let me put you out of my misery. I love that.
Yeah.
I like the fact his shitty artificial skin burns quicker than the rest of him. I don't know if you notice the patch around his eye fucking goes up first.
His eye socket's like burning right before his face to catch his fire. Yeah.
This must have been a ton of fun. They said it wasn't exactly like they filmed this in Vancouver in the fall and in the winter, and they said it was all at night mostly. So they said it was like minus 22 most of the time.
No wonder Stevenson's grumpy looking all the time.
Yeah, it's like minus 22 like every fucking night. And then they had to shift somewhere else because they said it started snowing and then it just never stopped. So they had to. I think they went to Ontario to finish this.
Guys, I got one question for you, and again, you'd be better at judging than me. I still liked the character, but the accent. Colin Simon as Budiansky. Did his accent put you off because he's English? Did you kind of? So that for ye that was an okay American accent.
No, Well, he's what? This is New York, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's in fucking New York. It doesn't matter, to me. He could just be a British dude in New York. I didn't really give a shit.
I never understand Americans who complain about other people's accent. I never get that. Like when they did that. They did that Robert the Bruce movie a couple of years ago with Chris Pine, and friends of mine were complaining about his like Scottish accent. I'm like, how's your fucking Scottish accent? Shut the fuck up, assholes.
But you felt it was a possible American accent.
I didn't even notice.
Honestly, I couldn't even tell. Probably because he was always with soap the whole time, and I didn't give a shit how he sounded.
Your ire was directed towards that.
Eric, I'm gonna find him. I'm gonna find soap at one of the cons, and I'm gonna get him to sign a fucking picture for you, and I'm gonna mail it to you.
I fucking fair play Dash Monic. He was fucking engaged to Alanis Morissette for years. You know that?
Really?
Yeah. They were engaged. They were going to get married, and some shit went down.
She saw the movie and she said, "Nope."
He was there. He was there. He was in the behind the scenes too, and he goes, this was because he is a longtime friend of Lexi Alexander.
Oh, okay.
So she put him in, and he said, I was disappointed. He goes, because I got my character has no action. And apparently there's a scene where he's at the bar. Every time you see him, he's either at the bar. Hey, come on, have a drink. He's very affable. He's a very friendly character. Hey, come on, we'll go to Milano's and we'll get some pizza. Best in the city, this, that, and the other. He's always trying to be, cordial and polite. But he said there's only one real scene, and I guess it got cut out of there, where Budiansky, like when you first meet him, or his first film scene is in that bar. And Budiansky walks in, and apparently at one point Budiansky bitch slaps him. He called it pimp slap, and he goes like, I cast in a Punisher movie, and the only action I got was to get slapped to the ground. That was. He goes, I was disappointed, but that's the way it worked out.
I will say this: I will give credit where credit's due. I did not hate Soap as much as I hated Looney Bin Jim, so I could at least say that for him.
Like you could have lived. Yeah, I could have lived. Like if it had just been a Jigsaw movie.
Yeah, I think this movie. The villains would have been better off if Jim was not even in the film.
Yeah,
because he took away because we'll go back to it. As goofy as Jigsaw is, and as goofy as the portrayal is, I bought it. You know what I mean? Because I allow that little bit of leeway, the way he looks and stuff like that. But the tone of the seriousness when he's breaking into Julie's apartment with her and her daughter, when I see fucking Jim, like I said, Marty, jumping on the couch like a monkey, it takes away from like how serious the moment is. I'm like, I don't need this dumbass on. If he was just standing in the background, fine. But the way he's trying to be the center of attention, trying to make this guy seem psychotic, but he just comes off as stupid.
Like there's another character you could put in, but you couldn't because Jigsaw's already in it. There's a brilliant character in Kitchen Irish called Finn Cooley, who is an IRA bomber who's one of his bombs exploded and he has to keep he has a plastic mask to stop his face from falling off. Jeez. But he's a fucking brilliant character. He's like, how are you doing, lads? What are you up to tonight? You can bait the wife, but you can't bait the crack, huh? I fucking love that character. That would have been a brilliant character to have in there.
And you know what? I think that's, now that I'm thinking about it, I think that's the reason why maybe I didn't like Jigsaw so much when I was watching it, but it isn't fair to Dominic because it's nothing he did. It's because of having Jim with him took away from any possible enjoyment I could have with Jigsaw, if that makes sense.
Robbed.
You know what I mean?
You've been robbed of your joy.
Yeah.
Marty, what did you think of Barenthal's Jigsaw?
Oh, Dominic West Jigsaw.
Not Dominic West, Barenthal in the series.
Oh, Ben Barnes' Jigsaw.
Yeah.
I like Ben Barnes' character. I think they copped out. Oh, he's Jigsaw because his mind is shattered. It's not really. He's got mild scars.
Yeah, they didn't go into the physicality. They didn't.
No.
Is his face all chopped? Is this face all chopped up in the comics?
There's a couple of scars.
There's some prominent scarring from a fight he gets. The Punisher takes his face into a broken mirror and runs his whole face down the length of it like a mirror.
But it's so that shreds it up.
But it's not like Dominic West or like what you see in the comics. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Ben Barnes is as the ladies say, fucking a thirst trap. And they want to bring in the ladies, so they keep him handsome. I like the character. In some regards.
Did you like him better just as Billy? Did you like him better as just Billy?
He was better as Billy Russo.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't too hot in the fact they made him and Frank like old friends in the army.
Marines. Yeah, they were Marine buddies.
Doing that shit. Oh, it's my lost blonde brother and fucking law or some shit like that. Don't do that. You don't have to connect everyone. He was solid. I think he was better in season 1 than season 2. The Memmonite was a way better villain in season 2. That fucking dude kicked ass.
Well, I mean, I liked his end in terms of like where he's just when he's laying in the dumpster and they start playing the acoustic version of Rooster. Like everything falls apart, and he's gut shot and he wakes up and the bullet's still in his gut and that doctor has just dumped him and stole all his money. I'm like, this is fucking hardcore, man. It
was a brilliant way to end it. I will admit he had a brilliant death because he rings up a mutual friend of his and Frank's, and he's like, "I need your help, man. I'm at the fucking VW or whatever," and he's just there lying in a pool of blood. And he wakes up. He's like, "Oh, Frank," whatever the character's in, and in comes the Punisher, and Frank has just had it. Frank had the shit kicked out of him by the Memmonite. He's been through a bunch of shit. He's wanted to kill fucking Billy for ages. And Billy's like, "I'm sorry, Frank. I didn't." And Frank just fucking shoots him. He's there
he
like
just
a
walks
fucking
away. He
insect.
doesn't even look at him.
No, he's
Yeah.
like an insect dying on the fucking windows. He's like, this is fucking pathetic. And just fucking ends in there and then.
Yeah, it's a great fucking end.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything about this film that we have not discussed that you would like to cover?
Oh, one nerdy piece of trivia and then I'll be done.
Sure.
There was a kids' cartoon called Superhero Squad, which had all different fucking superhero characters. And the superheroes want to go to the concert, and the only person that can get to drive them is the Punisher in the Punisher van, and it's voiced by Ray Stevenson. I just love that. That's
Very nice. Very nice. Very nice.
He goes on a rant about Brussels sprouts, how he hates Brussels sprouts and how they mix with the mac and cheese, and that's why crime is like the Brussels sprouts mixing with the mac and cheese. It's a cute little line.
I'm gonna have to look for that. That sounds funny as shit.
Rest in peace, Ray Stevenson, man. We miss
Legend.
you. We wish you were still
Absolute
making
legend.
some
Really good
fucking
at this.
movies today. Fantastic. Fantastic. All right, let's get to the part in the stream where we rate the film. This channel has a rating system that goes from 0 to 5 up by halves. So 0 to 0.5, 1, 1.5, all the way to 5. So 0, for example, would be I'd rather wear somebody else's dirty underwear than watch this movie again. All the way to 5, which is this is the journey, this is the destination, this is why I watch films in the first place. Marty, what would you give Lexi Alexander's Punisher Warzone?
I was thinking of giving it a 4, but there's a couple of things that have come to the surface. So I think it's fair to give it a 3.5. I don't think that's too stingy. I think that's a fair score.
Okay. Eric, what do you got for us?
Considering how like I said, I hated it the first time I saw it, and now that I knew what I was getting into, and I did enjoy it, I'm gonna, as of this, the second, to kind of like what I said with Spirit of Vengeance, the second time I've seen this, I'm gonna give it a 3 for now. Okay. I loved Stevenson. I thought he was great. As a no nonsense, I don't give a shit, I'm just gonna kill you type of vigilante.
Right.
I did like, some moments of humanity, like I said, with the snow globe. I liked what we got from Microchip. I just wish there was more. But the villains were just such a turnoff for me. I didn't give a shit about Jigsaw when I should have, and I wanted to, because Looney Bin Jim was just, I wanted to quit watching the movie sometimes when his dumbass was on screen, just because he just went into overdrive with trying to make this guy seem like a dangerous psychopath, and he just came off as a dork. You know what I mean? I didn't like him. And, God bless him. I know he tries. I didn't really like Soap, but I have a thing about dumbass cops, that are just there and, they're just fuck ups. But as of right now, it could change the next time I watch it. I mean, I'm not against watching it again, 6 months down the road, but as of right now, I'm going to give it a 3.
All right. I'm going to go with a 3.5. I think 3.5 is a respectable score. It's not top level entertainment, but it's pretty fucking good. Stevenson kills it. I don't mind the cops. I don't mind Dominic West because he fit the tone of what the movie was trying to do. Looney Bin Jim can't stand. I love Julie Benz and the girl that plays her daughter. Didn't like the cops, but the action is just insane. It's just absolutely insane. So yeah, 3.5 works for me. And, I own a copy on Blu-ray. So, I'm happy to pop it in, once every 6 months or once a year or something like that. I'll watch this before I watch Thomas Jane again.
Yeah.
And it's ironic because after this, we ended up getting Thomas Jane and Dirty Laundry, which was another step closer to where, it ended, and we're like, fuck, man. And then everybody flipped. Maybe we can get Thomas Jane back, and, get him back into, to a storyline like that, and combine Thomas Jane into a war zone kind of storyline. And, little did we know, that this was, I love Dirty Laundry. I think it's a fantastic short film.
Between the two of you, would you guys say that Barenthal is your favorite Punisher, since you two are, fans of the source material? Or would you prefer Stevenson? Because it seems like those are the two that you guys like the most.
I'm going to go with Barenthal, but only by a cunt hair. That's
It's not fair because Barenthal gets an entire
Because
season.
I haven't seen Barenthal as the Punisher, so I don't know.
Barenthal gets an entire season as in Daredevil, and he gets 2 whole seasons of Punisher. So he has a much longer. He has an enormous arc, to do all kinds of things, overlap with all kinds of cool characters, and do his thing. But yeah, I think Barenthal is just better written.
Okay.
It's
better written.
It's better written, and some of the fight scenes he uses a fucking dumbbell, a disconnected dumbbell as brass knuckles on this Russian guy's head, and the head caves in like it's a fucking.
Or the prison fight scene where he uses the broom handle.
Yeah, that and the cool thing is as well, the dude's fucking face is covered in blood and it goes on the front of Frank's jumpsuit, so he's like he's got this gory fucking Punisher skull.
And Frank's the new guy. He ends up in jail, so he's wearing all white. He gets a white jumpsuit. And he's overlapping with Daredevil, and he's overlapping with Elektra, and he's overlapping with the Hand, and he's overlapping with Kingpin, played by Vincent D'Onofrio. So I mean, it's just, and he's overlapping with Jigsaw and William Rawlins, and like all these hardcore Punisher overlaps that are just.
Mike, I love the doing he gave to fucking Rollins.
Oh my God. That's just like one of the greatest beatdowns of all time. Holy shit.
It was beautiful. It was operatic.
Yeah, it was. All right, Marty, plug something. What's going on with Trash Picture?
A couple of quick things. First off, I'm going to be doing a review on Terminator Zero. It's the new series on Netflix.
When's that drop?
Drop today. Watch the whole thing. It's solid. It's solid, but you have to be a fan of, say, the likes of Ghost in the Shell or the Animatrix. It does cater to Terminator fans, but it definitely does the anime cyberpunk thing a lot as well. Myself and Jen are on Sunday. We're doing our Sunday show. And lastly, if anyone wants, Sunday is the deadline. I am re-releasing my VHS Memories kind of documentary I did. I tweaked a bit of it. I shortened a bit of it. I fixed some shit that I wasn't happy with. And I'm also giving people a chance. 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. If you want to send me your favorite memories of going to the video store, send them to me. I'll fucking slice them in there, and it'll be in there when I re-upload it. So if anyone wants to do that, they're more than welcome.
All right. Eric, what do you got for us? What's going on with Hey Internet Eric here?
First off, Marty, it'll either be tonight or tomorrow. I will have 5 minutes or less sent to you for that documentary. Hey Internet Eric here, YouTube channel. I just did a stream with Dennis, DoobTube TV. Mark, you've seen him in the chat many times. It was like our first stream together, maybe in a month. That was a lot of fun, so you can check that out. I said last week I recently uploaded my thoughts on the Alien 3 assembly cut. I haven't finished it yet, so probably on Saturday I'll have my thoughts on Alien Covenant. First time ever watching it. I want to see what all the bitching is about. I'm about halfway through. My dumbass decided to put in a 2.5-hour movie at like 10 o'clock last night, and I clocked out about 45 minutes in. Next month, Alex, Frenzy, and I, we're getting together. We like to get together every Friday the 13th. And what we're going to do, we're going to have a live stream at 8:30 Central Time, so 9:30 Eastern on the actual Friday the 13th. We're going to try to figure out the fucked up timeline of the entire franchise, and it's just an excuse to get together and bullshit. You guys have seen our streams before. We talk about the main subject for 15 minutes, and then we just have fun shooting the shit. So, but sometime this weekend, I'll have at least an Alien Covenant video up. Oh, and I dropped my actual review of the 2024 Crow. And I'm at the point, Marty, you know why, where I'm kind of regretting uploading that, because it's nothing but a bunch of assholes. One person literally thought I was sponsored by the movie to give good thoughts towards it, even though, Marty, you saw the video and I trashed it in a few spots too. But I have my thoughts on The Crow 2024 on my channel as well.
All right. Well, check them out there. Trash Picture Show, YouTube, and Hey Internet, Eric here. For this channel, next week we will be back with David Goyer's Blade Trinity, which I'm looking forward to covering. Marty, you're welcome to join us for that one if you like. We got a little Ryan Reynolds. We got a little Jessica Biel. We got some Wesley Snipes. Triple H. Yeah. Parker Posey. So lots of good stuff.
Only movie where I don't hate her. I will say that.
I love Parker Posey in every movie.
I can't stand her, but
always love Parker Posey. This is one of the all-time good ones.
I like her when the mute button's on. We'll say that.
So we will be back with that one next week. I don't think I'm going to be seeing anything over the weekend, or at least anything that I'll be covering for the show. So yeah, next week we're going to continue in this thread of comic book movies that predate the MCU. And David Goyer's Blade Trinity is as good as anyone. Okay, my thanks to Eric from Hey Internet, Eric here. My thanks to Marty from the Trash Picture Show. We will see you all in the next video. All right, take care, everyone. God bless you.
Cheers.
Slán